Hello. Hello, everyone. We're live. I already saw them in the chat. Christina's here and Martha and Chris. And it looks like, let's
I
see,
see
we're on,
Lois.
pardon me. Yes. Who is a new friend? Lois. Lois is
Mhm.
here. And I don't know who else. Hello. Hello. I'm so excited. Are you excited?
I'm just,
Are you having a good time in Newfoundland?
I'm having a blast.
You're still at the Duke?
I think I had too many pints last night. I'm still a little foggy.
I think you might need a little detoxing. I don't know. Have you by any chance had any of the cod tongues? Have you tried
No, I passed on that. You know what I noticed though?
what?
Just random. I could drive there. I could rent a car and I'd be okay because they drive on the right side of the road.
Okay, that's true. They do. You are
Mhm.
correct.
Yep.
You could drive around. Arlene's here too. Everyone's coming in saying hi to each other. Yes, it was a great series. My father just finished it yesterday and he's like, I love the ending. He goes, but I gotta go back and start from season one again. I said, oh,
Well,
you've
yeah.
got the doily, like we're doilies. You've got the doily-itis. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. But before we get started, we had talked about this, but I wanted to show everyone. You have yours too. So there's only one left on Amazon. I just saw it. It's a gorgeous book. Like
It's classy.
they did top notch. I have to just show you something like right here. I love how the table of contents is like apps on a phone. Do you see that? And it shows where everything is within the book. It is written and put together by Carrie MacDonald. And we know about this because, hi, Jan. We know about this because when we had Stephanie Beaumont on, she was telling us about the book. So, of course, Kathy and I are possessed and we had to run out and get it right away. And Kathy opened it before me, but that's just me. And she was reading me parts of it. And I'm like, I have to grab it.
It is
But
absolutely, and they have centerfolds. But
yes,
nobody get too excited. Don't get excited because they're not centerfolds of Jake, but they are centerfolds of the GTO
yes.
and other things. They've got character rundowns and detailed recaps, and they're really detailed because this book was written by the lady who was very instrumental with writing the stories.
Yes.
It's a fabulous book.
So one of the things, so we're easing our way out of season one, and we're rolling into like our beginning favorites of season two. And I just have to show you all something. And I know it's like, okay, let me say it this way. It's like you have to appreciate people physically, especially when they're in good physical shape, right? This I want to find this. This wants to go in my office. I saw this photo, but didn't see this photo. So I saw where Alan Halko has a white shirt on. He's standing by a bed, but they didn't have this photo. Look at this. This is like a piece of art. Like that's Leslie in that bed. Look.
I got
Look
to
at this
tell you,
guy.
Roxanne, I really don't appreciate you objectifying the man.
I'm sorry. It's the whole photograph is fine.
I watch this series because the mysteries and the adventures are so well laid out.
Well,
And they have such depth that,
listen.
you know,
I had to deal with Grandpa Hunky stuff, okay, and all the other things. So you could deal with my fangirling here, okay. All right. Anyway, so we rolled out of season one, and it was interesting to me how that ended. So they're saying "Laugh out loud." We ladies renamed. I mean, you ladies renamed me so much.
reminds me.
Remind me so much of myself when I first discovered Republic of Doyle. Oh, it was like that. I know. Okay, Lois. So anyway, getting back to this. When it ended, where am I going with this? My thoughts are
First
all
season into the second season.
yes, but I wanted to say one thing. Oh, one of the things that I loved was the music. And when they played that music, and then that wasn't the first time they'll do it. They do it each season, and they're showing you everything that is going on while that music is playing. And I loved it. And Malachi was going into his surgery, and uh, what's his older brother's name? Why Christian? Christian was getting into the car and hitchhiking and running away because they were going to, he's wanted for murder. And it just left you there. You didn't know where it was going to go. But I love this. And then you see like Hood and the guys talking, and you see Leslie off to the side laughing, but then she looks off into the distance because those two have like these super strong feelings for each other, but they're not together. And I liked when she was so mad at him and she comes over and she's like, I was kicked off the case. It's your fault. And he's like, he's genuinely upset. He's like, why? I'm so sorry. That's not what I wanted to happen. And his voice gets soft and serious. And she says, well, I didn't turn in the bottle of pills because I wanted, like I was protecting you, well, me, and anyway, she's so mad, and she says, and the worst part is, I just want, he goes, well, what do you want? How can I help? Kiss me, and they start kissing and all that, and of course, Nikki comes in. I love his reaction to Nikki. Like he's sitting there stunned, looking around, and she's like, oh, like he's so done with her, and she sees that. She sees him totally withdraw because he's like, okay, you're leaving. All right. Okay. And she, I don't know. To me, I was like, yes, that storyline's going to fade out a bit. Although I like the character of Nikki. I like the direction it was going in.
I like that their marriage and all the passion evolved into a really, really deep friendship.
Yes.
They would die for each other. And that was so obvious. But it didn't take away from either of their relationships, her with David and him with Leslie. So can I just cover a couple of late season 1 episodes as we lead into season 2?
Yes.
So I got a comment on episode 10, one moment in there. I don't think I've talked about this or didn't talk about it much.
Okay.
Well, one of the things you find out from this book is that Hood, Sergeant, I don't know if he was a sergeant, Constable Hood, has been married 4 times, which is like, oh my gosh. So at the end, close to the end of episode 10, Nikki is still trying to get back with Jake.
Yes.
She's been talking to Rose. Rose has been trying to convince her this is a bad idea. Don't. But I think Nikki is a little bit in her cups. And so she's a little drunk and she's trying to get Jake's attention. And he's trying to figure out, what are you trying to say? What is it you want? And he's kind of paying attention to her. And then Hood walks in and says, hey, everybody, I have an announcement. And he comes in with Leslie. And he says, I'm getting married. Jake turns around and looks at him. And if you look at that scene for just a brief moment, there's this look on Jake's face like, no, you didn't. And it's like he thinks, are you about to say you're marrying Leslie?
Yeah.
And then that moment is over because Hood says immediately, and I'm trying to convince her to sing at my wedding. So please, everybody, get her to sing. And she looks embarrassed. She does blushing scene very well, but she starts singing this old English folk song. And I absolutely love the way Jake looks at her. He just, his eyes are piercing, and he's just, poor Nikki looks at him. And I think that's the moment Nikki knew, no matter what happens after this, I'll never have his heart again. But that's the moment I knew, this is the one, this is the real love, no matter who else comes along. For either one of them, this is the end game here.
Yes.
But it was just, nobody can do a piercing look at Leslie gaze like Jake.
Yes. So they have such good chemistry, those two. I love it. Now,
love it. And then, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to share.
The other one is the last episode of the season, and I think that's the one where Mal gets the heart attack. Okay. I didn't really think about this the first time I watched it, the first few times I watched it, but the title of the episode is The Fall of the Republic.
Yes.
And that got me to thinking, in the show Republic of Doyle, are they referring to Mel as the patriarch? Is he the Republic? Or are they referring to the fact that if something happens to Mel, Doyle and Doyle fall apart, and that's the Republic? Did you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I thought it was the entire Republic. Like, I think the Republic of Doyle is their family unit, and all three men were at a crossroads.
Okay.
What was happening between Jake, he had to get out of his marriage, but then he's also in love with Leslie, and that's evident. And he's left by himself. He doesn't know what to do. He's got to help his brother, but his only thing that he tells him to do is just go. And he drops him off, and he's on the run. And the father's having the heart attack, and he's at surgery. So everybody was like, I felt like the Republic was just
kind of falling apart.
Yeah.
They're by the fall of the Republic.
Yeah. That's just how I thought of it. That's a good analogy, though. I didn't even think about that. And we're in the early stages of their writing. And I know that they were throwing around ideas for the longest time. And I remember Alan Hawko saying they thought that they had all these storylines written, and it got them to like season 2. But they do such a good job, and they're so thoughtful about even the title and what it stands for. I wanted to share, before we moved on, some of the fun things people are saying. Christina's saying the part where she's singing, Jake is mesmerized.
That's the word.
Yes.
That's the word.
Yes. And I think Lois was sharing with us, hold on, she says that everyone in Newfoundland is musical. Yes, there are quite a few like very popular, gorgeous voices in that small little island. Yeah. And Lois is saying she had to tell everyone to watch it. Lois, you're like me on my Instagram account. Every day I'm on Instagram telling PSA, public service announcement, of why they have to watch. I've been running around telling everyone I possibly can. And I even look up old names to say, hello, we're recapping, come back with us, because we're campaigning for the movies. And you know what? It was Alan Hawko's birthday not too long ago, and Stephanie Beaumont posted a clip of an interview with him, and he says, not just movie, we can make the movies. I think it would be great to come out and have like these periodic 2-hour movies. And I'm like, I love you. I love you.
I'm not only on the let's do the movies bandwagon, but I'm also on the bandwagon for, please, somebody needs to come back and do a new book that covers seasons 3 through 6, because I need that book.
Yes. So Carrie, I wanted to talk a little bit about Carrie too. It's just a phenomenal book. And look, this is what Jan's saying in the comments. Here's our centerfold. Okay.
You misunderstand. You have to remember what age I am in my era. When I say centerfold, I'm thinking Burt Reynolds in the 70s. So
it opens up. It opens up.
Yeah. Although it's somewhere in season 2, as I've been watching, he and Mel are on a case, and he's trying to get somebody's mail, and so he's going to pose as the homeowner. So he literally strips down to his skivvies and runs across the street. And I think that's as close as we're going to come, and that's fine. Yeah,
there he is. And the mailman says to him, he's like, I'm waiting for something about his wife. And so he's like, okay, walks away, and it's a much older woman that's out there. He's like, laundry day. Those little comments, the father's like, you're goofy. What are you doing?
Yeah, he's a hot mess.
Oh my God. He always comes up with the greatest things at the last minute. And Jan's saying she had to look. I know. Lois is saying, I always said that I wish someone would look at me like that. Mm-hmm. Yes. My father loves it. My father's like, she's such a tiny little thing. She was jumping right onto him and wrapping her legs around him. And I know she is a tiny little thing. Yeah. Oh, Christine, the book isn't available any longer. There was one left on Amazon.
I thought, is this one of those books where you order it and they publish it to order?
No, I don't know. They did it. The production company and everything is Take the Shot Production. So they did everything. The copyright is Take the Shot Production. Oh no, it was published by, I'm wrong. It was published by something press, Finker. I don't know. I can't see blind. It's too small. And I don't know. We can look more into it. So I looked up this very talented woman, Carrie. It is a woman, right? Carrie, yes.
I
And
believe it is.
yeah. And I just wanted to give everyone a little background about how close knit these people are from this show and how they move on. So she was responsible for 57 episodes out of the 78. She had her hands in it, and 42 of them was she was like the story coordinator, and then she was like writer or whatever. But the other thing too is that when they were done, Alan was excited about doing the series Frontier. She was there creating 12 episodes. She moved on with him. Like, I mean, that's his production company, and she came.
I don't know if anyone knows about Jack Webb and his Dragnet and Adam 12 and all those shows. Jack
Yes.
had a little repertory company, and he
Mhm.
worked consistently with the same group of people in all of his projects. And I get the sense that Alan is like that he keeps the same, as much as he can, the same
Yes.
crew and actors when he can. And I love that loyalty. That tells me something.
And the friendship that tells you that they like each other, that they're good people that get along and they look out for each other, which is a nice thing. But here's what I find so exciting. Now we're talking about 2010 and 12 and 13 and 14, and now we come all the way up to 2023. Sullivan Crossings comes out. She's involved in Sullivan's Crossings, and Linda Boyd has a big part in that. And Alan Halko comes and does, I don't know, I think he's only on 1 or 2 episodes, but they just, you
Yeah,
know what I mean, keep each other
a
going.
little
So
repertory company.
I don't know if she's a busy person, but I would love to have her on and just talk to her about all this wonderfulness. And I would really like to have the directors on too, because how they, navigated and directed different things. I reached out to so before we move on, to let everyone know, we reached out to Steve, who plays Hood, and he will be on next week. So he's going to be talking about what he's been up to, some really cool, exciting things, and also the stories itself. And then I reached out to Kristen, who is Leslie. I haven't heard anything yet, but it was just like Steve's email was direct, emailed me back like this. Kristen, I haven't heard anything. Was it been a day or two? I'll give it
Just
a
a couple
couple
of
more.
days.
Yeah. So it's kind of exciting. All right.
I just looked at Amazon. This is for Christine. I just looked at Amazon, and it actually says the book is temporarily out of stock. So I think they are printing new copies.
All right. We'll find out. I'll ask. I can call and make my little calls and we'll figure it out. I mean, especially if people want it. So, okay. So one of my favorite parts about episode 201 in the very beginning is Live and Let Doyle. So, what I like about this one is the hilarity of, like you said, well, first of all, the storyline was unique in that these people, this is even more before it was really super popular, there are real couples that go out on these adventures, like you get kidnapped and you have to, or you go on a crazy safari or whatever. And I guess, but that's usually people that are really bored and have a lot of money. But these two, it's not that they didn't have a lot of money, it's just that they were bored, right? So they faked who they really were, and it took a while to have that unraveled, and then it turned into something totally different. But what I liked about it was the interaction that Jake has with with the woman that he kept trying to figure out, who are you? Why do I know you? And she kept doing things to him. He's like, I know you, right? And she hurts him, like she gets him in a soft spot, and he's like, oh, I guess that means I do know you. Like he feels like there's a bad reason, like he doesn't remember her. So that's probably why she's so angry with him. But here it's because she's an actress and he recognizes her. And I don't know. I thought that was funny. And I love how they come up with a different story each week, and you think it's one way and it keeps raveling and unraveling and unraveling. And I feel like Dez is coming. He's really Dez now. He's out of that street guy, more into being a family. When Mal was going in for his operation, remember how his granddaughter Tinny was leaning on him and he put his arm around her and then she pushes him off. She's not so angsty and teenagery anymore once we get to season 2. She's
She's growing up.
Yes, and we see that, and she's softer, and I love that whole storyline and how it starts to evolve. So go ahead.
No,
Yes.
no, I was listening to you.
No, I'm going. I'm just telling you some of my favorite things. So go ahead. You share too.
Um, anything with Maurice Becker. I just took. When was Mirror Mirror? That wasn't in season 2, was it? That was much later.
The season 2, he comes back, but he has to remember he has to go to jail. Popeye Doyle. Remember, he has to go to jail, and there he is walking around and lounging. My father says he doesn't understand how he could just walk around like nothing, and he's in jail, smoking his cigars and doing whatever. Look at him. But this is when we first get introduced to
Wolf.
Wolf, and we don't realize who Wolf
Oh,
is.
also known as Elvis.
Also known as his good friend, and he's the one who sings "Oh Yeah." That's Alan Doyle. Did you know that he sings the
Really?
I'm just asking in general.
Seriously? Yeah, but I like any appearance by Maurice. I like any appearance by Garrison, Victor Garber, who plays Garrison Steele, and I just adore Jimmy because he gets no respect at all. Not that he terribly deserves it, but I believe we first meet Jimmy in season 2, don't we?
We meet, yes, we do, but not in that episode. We meet him later. We meet them. Well, no. We meet him the same time we meet
Rusty?
Yes, same time we meet Rusty. I can't. Okay, all right. So
all right, I love Wolf though. Wolf, yeah.
Yeah. He keeps coming back. All right, Jan says
I'm sorry, it's I also like the layers of the characters. And they may seem like they're like really funny, and then on, as the British say, they turn heel, and you discover they really do have a vicious streak, which is true of Maurice. He's got a vicious streak, but he can also be funny as all get out.
Yes.
And I like Gordon Pinsent really was a wonderful, wonderful actor. And I think in the book, Mark O'Brien, who plays Des, they do actor profiles and character profiles and say, like, what was your favorite moment or episode? And I believe he said he really enjoyed working with Gordon Pinsent, that it was just brilliant watching him. And I've seen interviews where Alan says Gordon Pinsent is on the set, and every woman on the set is like, who's Alan Falco? And they're just like lemmings following after Gordon.
Yes.
So,
yes. That's also someone Alan admires. Martha says her husband just found on Abe Books that they have that you can get it. We might also get like a used copy. And when we were talking about the singing, yes, the Great Big Sea, Lois said that's when Alan was back there. And Chris, why does Jimmy look so familiar? I forgot. Where's he from?
Pat Grimes. He's done a lot. He was a child actor or a very young actor.
Yes, I forget what his big thing is. So if we said it, we would remember. Yeah. I don't remember. All right. So do you have anything in the beginning that's an episode that's your favorite?
You know me. All of the episodes are my favorite. I have to go by moments.
Okay. Well, I loved when he was in jail and he was helping out doing his thing. And I liked that we got to see the recurrence now. This is because this is season 2, and you don't realize that they're going to bring back, and it's something they do all through all the seasons. But, we finished season 1, and here they are bringing back characters from like that had little. So that's why I always say that they are recurring guest stars and not just guest stars where they have one shot. Yep. And Maurice, I mean, I love having him back. But I also like that we had the opportunity to meet Rose's mother.
Oh, she was a hoot and a half.
I know. And I liked the Des and the dynamics of, oh my God. I thought that was great. And I loved how Malachi was like a little uncomfortable and how much he would tease him about it. I don't know. I just thought it was good.
You're like, did she just leave with my luggage? And I was like, yeah, pretty much she did.
Those are the little things that crack me up. It just is like, oh my gosh. He is in the Orville. I don't know what that
I
is.
think people remember him maybe from ER. He had a very long running role on
Yeah.
that. And he was
Yes.
also had a regular role on Party of Five.
Yes, that's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, so let's see where we are. Now, one of the best lines in this episode of 202 is also Stephanie Beaumont's favorite. So you've got like the whole mystery going on, and they come to the end, and you see Jake and Leslie looking at that couple, not sure if they're going to make it or what's going to happen. And Jake says, "What about those two? They going to make it, you think?" And Leslie, here's what Leslie says: "I don't know. It could be years before they're together. It's a job to say. It's a job to say."
Talk about your foreshadowing.
Right. And then at the end, it says Leslie sweetly kisses Jake on the forehead before she leaves, and he watches her go. Because what's happening is she's involved with dun dun dun.
William Cadigan Clark.
Yes. And I think it's funny when he goes to ask her for some help, and he sees her in that dress. And when she calls, he's like, she goes, "I need your help." And he goes, "I'll do anything. You got that dress still on? I'll be there." And it just.
But you know, the really cool thing is, again, and I made this point at the beginning, no matter who they're with, because in this season, he was like with Allison, and she was with Mayor Clark, who I love Rick Roberts, but she was with him. But you never doubted that, yeah, this is like what I'm doing at the moment, but you know what my heart really is. And that came from both of them. And that was really good acting, because it was all in the expressions, the looks. And it was like so many different layers, like they're gooning each other, but they don't want their respective current sweeties to notice they're gooning each other, although I think they did anyway. But I just love that, the subtlety of, okay, viewers, don't worry. Yes, we've got them split up now, but they are in game. I love that.
And he's starting to mature too. He really is starting to mature. You see a little bit about, like you saw that at the end of this, almost at the end of season 1, where he's like, what does she like? He's so removed from her going crazy and beating him up. Well, she's not his ex-wife yet, but becomes that. She's like, "I'm moving on. I got to move on." And he's thinking to himself, okay, because he really wanted Leslie, and she interrupted that. So it's a little, he matures, especially with his girlfriend, because they both have someone, but that's a little bit later on. Arlene saying tinny pot business with her school friend, and Des finding out about it, and it was so sweet trying to look out for her. I know. That was another thing that I enjoyed about this season, was to see how much those two grew and got close, and you knew that their story was way down the line, but it was just, they're young and they're growing. But I liked it because he felt like he was a family member. And then at one point somewhere, he's like, "You don't see me as your brother or your uncle, right?" And she's like, no, because he is part of the family, but he has feelings for Tinny, and everybody knew. Do you think Jake knew, or Jake was oblivious to it until the end?
Jake was oblivious.
Because he was so into himself?
No, because that just wasn't even on his radar. That wasn't even an option. I think he still sees Tinny as his little niece, the little one. He was still calling her late in the series, and no one. She wasn't going to be with anyone.
Yeah.
Except maybe Dwayne.
But I know that.
Dwayne, that's Dwayne.
Yeah. So I love it that this Jan thinks he had a feeling, maybe a little bit, and he just didn't want to like really think about it. But I love how this season progressed. Like we kept seeing, there's like so many things that I love. Like you said, you have moments. Remember, I was asking you what episodes, and then you were saying you have moments. I have episodes, but I definitely have moments. Like you were pointing out. And I was like, the writing's good, but it was getting really good. And I could really tell with season 2 how good it was getting, because they with so much ease brought back those characters from the first season. Like they brought back the detective guy, right? What the heck's his name?
Garrison Steele?
Yes, he comes back for another storyline. And do we see Carl Marr again in this one?
I love Carl.
Yes, he does. He come back. We
I'd
see the
be a deadly
ex-husband.
brother-in-law.
Pardon me.
He told Jake I'd be a deadly brother-in-law.
And then we see the oh, we see the Rose's ex-husband come back, but he's softer this time and a little different. Like, I just want to help. I just want to help kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, they're bringing back these characters and they're doing them justice because they're growing too. You see Karl Marr grow. You see him change. The old guy, he's just a jerk.
Martin changes.
Who?
Martin.
Yes, you see Martin change. So I like that. Oh my gosh. My favorite episode was will the real Des Courtney please stand up? Yes. That was a touching one when they're like, what do we know about him? It was almost like they were saying, we're adopting you. That's how he comes to live with them. And Jake gets to grow up a bit and goes and moves in down the street he moves into the office.
Yeah. I love Des's father. He was very endearing.
Yes, he was.
I don't think we saw him again, did we?
No, just that one time. That was it. So go ahead.
No.
Oh, so we have a lot to talk about as the season moves on, but I'm excited to have on Steve next week. But we're not when we had Stephanie on, it wasn't like we could talk for them for 15 minutes and then they left and then we would recap. There was just so many wonderful things that she shared that we just shared that whole time with her. And I think we'll probably wind up doing the same with Steve because interesting enough, he played 3 different parts in this series.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Actually, his very first role was, ironically enough, Hood. He was a Hood.
Mm-hmm. So I think it'll be fun for him to tell us what his favorites were, just the ins and outs, the whole thing, and then how he's still involved with that same group of people, how they are still working together. He's on a couple shows that we can even get in the States. Son of a Creech we can get. So I haven't had a chance to even watch that, but I'm excited to. And then you and I are going to have to think of questions we want to ask him and get prepared.
I've got a head full of them.
All right.
One of the things I wanted to say is one of my favorite things about all the seasons is whenever whenever Jake and Mal let their guard down and show how they really feel about each other. Yes. And it's usually at times of high pressure.
Yes.
You know, Jake's been hit by a truck or a shot, or Mal's had a heart attack, or he's been shot. And that's when they really show their affection. I believe it was season 2 where I guess they've kind of not babied Christian, but gave him the benefit of the doubt and kind of bailed him out his whole life.
Yes.
And at one point when Mel, I think, is feeling a little remorseful and he tells Rose, you know, all this time, you know, he's been, you know, up to no good.
Picking up, yeah.
Yeah, and Jake's been picking up for him, and it's just because Martin somebody told him early on, Christian's the one who caused all the Martin, and he didn't believe Martin. He's like, get out of here, you're lying. And when he realized that, he was very remorseful. He had not given Jake the benefit of the doubt. He loves Jake to death. I think later on in the series, he says, that's my best friend.
That's my best friend.
He was afraid of losing him for some reason.
I know. And one of the first interactions between them to start off season 1 was they're standing out by that pier ready to meet that couple that gets kidnapped in broad daylight. Okay. So when they're having a conversation, he's like, says to him, what's this moratorium on women? You know what I mean? Is it self-imposed, or is it because everybody's like, they had enough with you? And he goes, I hope it's you know, maturing. And he's like, stop talking about my sex life. I don't want to talk to you about my sex life, Dad. You know, I think it's funny. So it was like, he pays attention and he cares, but it was a hilarious way of how he said it.
And he wants his son to be happy.
Yes, he does. Really does. Yes.
There's episode 10 in the second season. And I can't think right now what the rest of the plot is, but it may be the couple but there's a couple, and Jake and Leslie have helped, free this man who was in prison for a crime he didn't commit. And they've just told him, you're going to be free. And his girl comes in and they're hugging each other. And Leslie and Jake are in the observation room watching them. And he's like, oh, you think, they're going to be okay? And it's like, Jake was like, okay, I'll see you around. And he almost turns to go and he stops and they just look at each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Jake's with Allison and she's with the mayor. But
Yeah.
it's like, okay, they can't help each other. And they just,
not then, and then they have that conversation again, but and
they start kissing, and then somebody walks in, and it's like, I don't know how whoever walked in, some cop didn't see those two break apart and look all guilty, and it's like, you two crazy kids just dump these other ones and get together.
I know, but it's a story. They have to keep going. Oh, Lois, I love that one. He says, stop saying panties, and he says it's clinical. One of my favorite things. It's not clinical. Panties, panties, panties. That's funny. Jan saying it had to do with the buying the bar. You are correct.
$40,000. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said, put the debt on me because he knew he would handle it. That's how there's a big fight about that in the beginning of season 2 also.
Well, do you know how many times Jake gets beat up and abused and in trouble because he takes on the debt of some of his natural family members like Sloan?
Yes.
Got in trouble in a later season. That was just so sad.
Yeah, I know. All right. So we will continue next Thursday. We've got so much to talk about. I'm excited. Are you?
Yeah. I'm always excited about anything related to Republic of Doyle.
Me too. All right. Thank you for tuning in. If you're not on Instagram, get on Instagram because I always am liking and spreading the word because we need the movie. Someone's saying they Googled the book and found it available, used, and ordering it, taking 5 to 12 business days. All right, Christine.
How much people order the book because we're going to have a pop quiz next week.
Yes, we are. Pop quiz. Oh, did I order them? I think I did. I actually have a prize that I can put in the mail for people. I think I ordered them. I'm almost positive. I ordered some kind of merch, I think. There's actually in the backs, there's quotes and everything. Like there's people who said what they said. Look, wait a minute.
We cover all the recurring characters too.
Look how gorgeous that one is. Isn't that beautiful? It's a beautiful book. I think I didn't even pay $20 for mine. How about you?
No.
Yes. I started the Closer by C. Roxanne. Are you loving it, Arlene? Arlene, I don't know. I mean, I know it's good writing, that part alone. There was just something so haunting about it. And I just love that book. That's by Perry Chafe. And I'm glad you got it, Arlene. Keep me posted. Let me know what you think. And Jan's saying, I'm amazed Jake's nose is still straight and he still has a brain after being hit. And you know what? That's true. That's the comedic part of it, the fantasy part of that. Yeah.
I remember there was a line, somebody was about to hit me and he goes, don't worry about hitting me in the mouth. I already lost all my teeth and had them replaced.
And I'm thinking that's something that someone who plays hockey with ice hockey, and Alan Hawke's a huge ice hockey fan, and he plays.
I have some scenes in the book of them. Yes. Mark O'Brien, you can see him playing. I don't know.
Yes, they do too. Yes. All right, good. So she's guys thought it was 14 something, and Arlene, you'll keep me posted on the book. Good, thank you. All right, friends, we will see you next week, unless we see you on Monday, right? We have guests on Monday. We have they've got a cute little name, Cookies Doelites instead of Delights, and they're coming on. And I'm sending you some goodies, Kathy, because they're in Illinois with you.
And I'm waiting.
All right, friends. Catch it on Acorn, by the way. That's where you see it free with no commercials. Yes.
See you next week. Bring somebody with you. Invite another Republican Royal fan to come show some support for Steve.
Yes. I'll be putting it all over the place too. All right. Good night.
Night.